Hi, I'm Ginger. I am sharing from the Geneva Bible. This is coming from Acts 27. Now, when it was concluded that we should sail into Italy, they delivered both Paul and certain other prisoners unto a centurion named Julius of the band of Augustus. And we entered into a ship of Adramyttium, purposing to sail by the coast of Asia, and launched forth, and had Aristarchus of Macedonia, a Thessalonian, with us. And the next day we arrived at Sidon. And Julius, courteously entreated, spoke with Paul, and gave him liberty to go into his friends, that they might refresh him. And from thence there we launched and sailed hard for Cyprus, because the winds were contrary, unfavorable. Then sailed we over the sea, by Cilicia. Sorry. Then sailed we over the sea by Cilicia and Pamphylia, and came to Myra, a city in Lycia. And there the certain and there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria sailing into Italy, and put us therein. And when we had sailed slowly many days, and scarce were come against Cnidus, because the wind suffered permitted us not, we sailed hard close by Crete, near to Salmone, and with much ado sailed beyond it, and came unto a certain place called the Fair Havens, near unto the which was the city Lasea. So when much time was spent, and sailing was now jeopardous, because also the fast was now past, Paul exhorted, urged them, and said unto them, Sirs, I see that this voyage will be with hurt and much damage, not of the lading and ship only, but also of our lives. Nevertheless, the centurion believed rather the governor and the master of the ship than those things which were spoken of Paul. And because the haven was not commodious, suitable to winter in, many took counsel to depart thence from there, if by any means they might attain to reach Phoenix, there to winter, which is an haven of Crete, and lieth toward the southwest, and by west and northwest, and by west. And when the southern wind blew softly, they, supposing to obtain their purpose, loosed nearer, and sailed by Crete. But anon, soon after, there arose by it a stormy wind called Euroclydon. And when the ship was caught, and could not resist the wind, we let her go, and were carried away. And we ran under a little isle named Clauda, and had much ado to get the boat, which they took up and used all help, and undergirding the ship, fearing lest they should have fallen into Syrtis. And they let down the vessel, and so were carried. The next day, when we were tossed with an exceeding tempest, they lightened the ship. And the third day we cast out with our own hands the tackling gear of the ship. And when neither sun nor stars in many days appeared, and no small tempest lay upon us, all hope that we should be saved was then taken away. But after long abstinence, Paul stood forth in the midst of them, and said, Sirs, ye should have hearkened to me, and not have loosed from Crete, so should ye have gained this hurt and loss. But now I urge you to be of good courage, for there shall be no loss of any man's life among you, save of the ship only. For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am, and whom I serve, saying, Fear not, Paul, for thou must be brought before Caesar, and lo, God hath given unto thee all that sail with thee. Wherefore, therefore, sirs, be of good courage, for I believe God, that it shall be so as it hath been told me. Howbeit, nevertheless, we must be cast into a certain island. And when the 14th night was come, as we were carried to and fro in the Adriatic Sea, about midnight the shipmen deemed that some country approached unto them, and sounded, measured water depth, and found it 20 fathoms. And when they had gone a little further, they sounded, measured again, and found 15 fathoms. Sorry. Then, fearing lest they should have fallen into some rough places, they cast 4 anchors out of the stern, and wished that the day were come. Now as the mariners were about to flee out of the ship, and had let down the boat into the sea under a color, as though they would have cast anchors out of the foreship, Paul said unto the centurion and the soldiers, Except these abide, remain in the ship, ye cannot be saved. Then the soldiers cut off the ropes of the boat, and let it fall away. And when it began to be day, Paul exhorted, urged them all to take meat, food, saying, This is the 14th day that ye have tarried and continued fasting, receiving nothing. Wherefore I exhort, urge you to take meat and food, for this is for your safeguard, for there shall not an hair fall from the head of any of you. And when he had thus spoken, he took bread and gave thanks to God in presence of them all, and brake it and began to eat. Then were they all of good courage, and they also took meat, food. Now we were in the ship in all 200 souls. And when they had eaten enough, they lighted the ship and cast out the wheat into the sea. And when it was day, they knew not the country, but they spied a certain creek with a bank, into the which they were minded, if it were possible, to thrust in the ship. So when they had taken up the anchors, they committed the ship unto the sea, and loosed the rudder bands, and hoisted up the mainsail to the wind, and drew to the shore. And when they fell into a place where 2 seas met, they thrust in the ship, and the fore part stuck fast and could not be moved, but the hinder part was broken with the violence of the waves. Then the soldiers' counsel was to kill the prisoners, lest any of them, when he had swum out, should flee away. But the centurion, willing to save Paul, stayed them from this counsel, and commanded that they could swim should cast themselves first into the sea and go out to land, and the others, some on boards and some on certain pieces of the ship. And so it came to pass that they came all safe to land. So as you can see here, the angel of the Lord spoke to Paul and told Paul that they were going to make it safely. And so angels are real. Angels still are working today, and angels still are, the holy angels of God still do minister to those who inherit salvation, just as it says in the book of Hebrews. But we are not to pray to angels. So you need to know that we are not to pray to angels. We are to pray to Heavenly Father, and He will decide if He wants to send some angels to help you, or to speak to you in a dream, or speak to you in a vision. I have seen a holy angel with these eyes. I was out hiking about 2.5 years ago, and I looked up in the sky, and I saw a holy angel. It had wings. It had something like a silver colored thing around its waist. It was like shiny, very extremely shiny. It was probably about a football field away at first, and then it lowered to about a half a football field away, and then it flew away from me, and I watched it for 25 minutes. I did not have my cell phone, so I did not take a picture, but I did have a watch with me, and I watched it for 25 minutes. It was a holy angel of the Most High One. It was going towards the lake. I don't know if it was saving someone from drowning, or what. It didn't speak to me. It, in fact, flew away from me towards the lake. So they are real. There are holy angels of the Most High One that have protected you many times, even without you knowing it. Not all angels have wings. Sometimes an angel might appear to you in a dream. I have had 2 angels appear to me in the dream. I do believe they were the angels that protect me, or that still protect me. One was about 7 feet high, and one was about 8 feet high. They had on like tan colored tunics, and they had on sandals, brown sandals, and they had kind of bushy hair, like, how a lot of surfers have like kind of bushy hair. That's how their hair was. It was kind of light colored hair, and they were male. They looked like males, and they were watching me sleep. I was dreaming of these 2 holy angels and they were watching me sleep. They were protecting me as I slept. And I also had a dream when I was around age 34 of an angel with it looked like a laser beam coming out of the sword, and it was guarding the apartments where I lived. And so sometimes you will get dreams of angels, of God. Sometimes an angel, you might see one with your eyes, or sometimes you have an angel unaware that's ministering to you. It doesn't have wings, it looks just like a person, and you may not have even realized it. So be nice to everyone because you might be entertaining an angel unaware. Thanks for listening. Have a great day.